Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In the past devlog videos for Head Wizard I've talked about the artwork and the enemies, and today I wanted to show you the progress I've been making on the movement and some of the new features of this game. So one of the things I've added in this game is slopes. As you can see, I can walk up and down slopes now. This was a feature that was not in the browser games, so I thought it would be nice showing you some of the cool things you can do with this. One of the things I've added was, you can bounce your head off the slopes. So I can create some interesting puzzles with it. I can open up a quick scene to demonstrate this. Okay, so here we have some slopes, as you can see, and there are some enemies, and the goal is to go up. So if I throw my head onto a slope, you can see, well, it bounces off the slope and the walls. If I time it right, I can throw it onto the enemy's head like this. You might have noticed that there's not, the angle is not right yet. When I throw the head onto the slope, it just always stays upwards. Just like the level you just saw, I'll open it real quick. So just like this scene, you can see that the artwork isn't really done for this. It's just a basic level in which I can see if the game is working correctly, so I can see if the movement is right. Okay, so one of the next things I've added was some physics. So you can see the block goes down a little bit if something stands on it. And the weight of this matters, because if I put the statue on it, the statue is way heavier than Head Wizard. You can see the block goes all the way down really quickly. So yeah, this is something which will allow for interesting puzzles, I think, because, let's just imagine that there's maybe a laser here between these blocks, and you have to make sure the laser reaches the other block, for instance. So there's a laser from here, which is blocked by the block, and it has to reach the other block. I can put a statue on it. Well, now the path would be free, so it would be hitting, and then maybe a door would open, something like that. Another thing is this. You can see, let's say I wanted to get to this window. I couldn't get there just by platforming. Maybe if I timed it really great, but it's really difficult. But I can use my head here, so I can put the statue over there, put my head on it, and then, as you can see, I can just walk over to there now. So these are some of the things I'm, playing with right now. Of course, this also is a slope, so maybe putting a statue on this thing, or having this be at the right angle, and then using the slope to get somewhere. As you can see, I can throw the head over there now, so if there was a statue up there. Another thing I've improved in the past couple of weeks is the collision detection of Head Wizard. Since there are slopes, I've made a custom character controller. So in the previous games, I've always used rigid bodies and manipulated their velocities to make the character move. But since there are slopes, it would result in weird behavior because, let me head over to a slope. Let's say something was to move really quickly onto the slope, then it would probably fly over a little bit here. So the character would come walking up here, and then he would go walking up here. And if he went really fast, the character would fly a little bit over, and that's not something I wanted to happen, because as you can see, I wanted it to behave like this, where you move upwards and just stay on the ground. Just like in real life, if you were walking, you wouldn't jump on top of the stairs or something. So yeah, that's why I made a custom character controller. I can open it, open the guideline view a little bit so you can see how it works. As you can see, the character will, the blue ball will always stay at the ground. So if I go to the slope, you can see the blue ball will stick to the collision box of the ground. So the ground has this diagonal line, And this is the grounded state. So this controller has two states. One is the grounded state, in which it uses this guideline, and it actually just casts a ray from here to here. And if it hits the ground, then it will position the wizard on the ground. And when moving left, it will constantly be casting this ray to check where the wizard should be positioned at, and that this will always be the ground. Now if I jump, something else will happen. There's also a collision box here, and what happens is if I jump, then the rigid body takes control of the character. So then the character controller doesn't anymore, and I just use the physics of Unity. This is to help, well, do the collision checks in the air and maybe bounce a little bit here. So yeah, that's how the character movement works. Next I'm going to work on the enemies a little bit more, because in the last game the enemies would well, turn into these ragdolls when you crushed them with physics stuff. And I think, well, combining that with the items I've put in the levels here, and maybe like some kind of wrecking ball, or think of an Indiana Jones rock coming down a slope. You could do fun stuff with that, crushing enemies, maybe even launch enemies with this thing over here. Like if I put the statue on this side, then maybe an enemy could be launched, and you could maybe have to place him on a pressure plate or something by launching him in the right direction, or it could be a mini game. So yeah, that's something I'm going to do next. I hope you enjoyed this video for now, and as always, please leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe if you like the channel and want to stay updated, and well, I hope to see you in the next video.